them yesterday afternoon and started by asking them just how it felt to have their own album.
It's all right, you know. it's too cool. It's just we did some songs, we sang some songing things, and now they're on a CD that people have apparently bought, which is just weird.
It's crazy for us, I think.
I mean, it must feel dead weird because you're both still just 17, aren't you? And now you've got an album out there. It's gone top 5 already, which is just fabulous.
Ridiculous.
I can't imagine how you feel really, because it's really tangible, isn't it? When you can actually see your photograph on the front cover of the album, and you can see that on the iTunes charts and in the shops and stuff. So
I think it's the weirdest thing when you walk into Tesco's and see your like face on the shelf. It's just it's bizarre that you have. I think when we first got handed the CD and we saw the cover and saw the actual disc itself, our names on it, it was an amazing moment for us to kind of just be like, oh my god, we actually have an album now.
Well, I'm dead chuffed for you both, really. I think it's fabulous.
Thank you.
I love the story of how you both sort of applied for Britain's Got Talent. It was your idea, I think, Charlotte, wasn't it? Almost by chance.
Yeah, it was just a random application form, and there was no thought process and no nothing. It just kind of happened step by step.
I think most people know your story from that point on, really. So let's go back a little bit, shall we? And I mean, we learned quite a lot about it in the documentary, which was on the other night, and I thought that was really, really interesting. So well done on that, guys.
Thank you.
But of course, your friendship sort of grew over your time at school, didn't it? And I think you heard Jonathan singing in the other room, Charlotte, when you first encountered that incredible voice.
Yeah, it was back in high school when we were about, it must have been 13, 14 at the time, and we were all kind of rehearsing in the music block as you do, and Johnny was singing a song from my favourite ever musical, Les Mis, which kind of attracted my attention anyway. And then when I heard him singing in the way he does, I mean, you can't help but listen, can you? And it was just kind of from that, we were kind of in the same music class and friends before that, but it wasn't until we were put together and started singing together and we're actually enjoying singing music together that we became really good friends, and it kind of all came from the love of music, I think.
Yeah.
And from that point, we kind of found that we actually had a lot more things in common and found a lot of things the same that we're interested in, and we actually have a sort of similar humour. Even though they're very different, they sort of coincide with each other, which is kind of weird. But and it kind of then, hang on, I'm losing my words. And then when we left school, we stayed in contact and said that we were going to apply for competition and things, and then Britain's Got Talent happened.
Wow. And, you know, Jonathan, you couldn't like, personally, more different music styles to the sort of music we're getting to know you for, really.
Pretty much. I mean, I do like pretty much everything, but yeah, the things that I mainly listen to are just far from the things that I sing.
Well, of course, I mean, you're talking here on BBC Radio Leicester, just up the road. We've got Castle Donington, home of the Download Festival.
Oh, yes.
I know you love your heavy metal and stuff. Have you ever been to Download?
I haven't, but I really want to.
Listen, you should get up here for next year's Download and maybe even do a turn, because I just know you'd go down a storm. I really do.
I just might have to.
All right, well, I mean, now we're up to date, really, aren't we, then, to a point, because obviously Britain's Got Talent happened. That was all very surreal, and there was that toe-curling moment, guys, where Simon suggested that Charlotte, you might be holding Jonathan back, and I'm quoting Mr. Cowell there. I mean, just talk me through what was going through your mind at that moment, Charlotte, because that was harsh, huh?
Yeah, it was a very difficult moment for me, because it was kind of being on stage in front of the biggest audience kind of I'd ever sung in front of, which was like 3,500 people. And then to get yourself really geared up to kind of sing for Simon Cowell and the other judges, and to kind of be on Britain's Got Talent, and you kind of just have this whole positive view of it until you're put in that kind of position where you're kind of like, oh my god, this is the worst moment of my life, because it's very, very embarrassing, and you become very vulnerable on stage, I think, because everybody can see how you feel, and that was a very strange moment for me, because I'm quite I wouldn't say secretive person, but I don't really show my feelings a lot, and when I watch that clip back, I can see exactly what I'm feeling, and it gets me every time to see myself, because I put myself back in that position. And
Jonathan, you had to make that call And when you stood there and said, no, we came here as a duo, we're going to stay as a duo, I won't lie to you, mate, I'm a 6'3" strapping bloke, built like a barn door myself, and my heart broke a little bit. I thought, good for you. What motivated you to make that decision in that moment to stick together, despite Simon Cowell saying that you could be, you know, the next big thing if you'd gone solo, and laying that temptation out in front of you?
Well, there was no real consideration over the whole thing. I mean, we were aware that shows like that sort of like doing the whole split people up thing, and we'd had a very short talk about it, and really all that was said was that if one of us was asked to split up, then we wouldn't. So I just said no. there was no consideration. I mean, you say Simon Cowell was such a stress on it, but at the end of the day, he's just another human. Well, another human with an incredible amount of money and
and your boss now.
Yeah, very true.
And a lot of power.
Yes,
Johnny, be careful.
but yeah, he's just a person.
No, all I'm saying, mate, I don't think you really, I mean, with the greatest amount of respect, can really comprehend the gravity of saying no to a man like Simon Cowell. You were just so innocently stood by what you'd agreed with Charlotte, and that's what came across straight away. And I think, and what I loved was in the final where he completely ate his words and said, you made the right decision, and basically completely endorsed the two of you as a duo from that point onwards. I thought, yes, I was out of my seat cheering at that moment. I mean, we'll ignore the fact that you lost to a dog in the final.
Moving on swiftly.
Because, you know, hey, that's just a by-the-by thing. Let's go on to the documentary, which was on Friday night. I loved it, I really did, because what was great was not only your passion for the music you made. I loved your little trip around Italy. I mean, Jonathan, you clearly fell in love with Italy again.
Oh, I did.
I mean, what's not to love, hey? It's an amazing place, isn't it?
It is. It's just. Oh wow! I mean, I just want to be back there most of the time. It's like it was built like in an older time, like in a different time entirely, and it's just stayed there since.
You've got quite a grasp of the language, I think, Charlotte, haven't you?
Who, me?
Yeah.
Well, my dad's side of the family are from a place called San Biagio in Italy. So my dad's side of the family, quite a few of them spoke fluent Italian. And as I was growing up, I sort of attempted to learn the chit-chatty lingo.
Okay.
But then when I was 12, I didn't go for 4 years because I started to focus on kind of musical theatre and training in it, so I never got to go on holiday. But when we came back, when I turned to sort of singing in the Italian songs, it kind of just sort of happened, if that makes sense. I just kind of got a grasp of the language and enjoyed singing in that language. It kind of felt a bit more natural to me than anything else.
And we saw you meeting Pavarotti's vocal coach,
yes,
Leone Maggiera, who said you had quite a good grasp of the language, and describes your voice, Jonathan, as absolutely astonishing. I mean, to get that kind of professional endorsement is priceless, really. How did it feel to have somebody of such a high caliber say, yeah, you guys get the thumbs up?
It was pretty good, you know. I mean, that I can't even describe that kind of feeling. I mean, someone who's been in the like operatic business for so long, it's top compliment.
And yeah, I think especially because he's worked with so many amazing people, it's almost kind of like it's an even bigger compliment because he doesn't have to say it. Which I think that's a key point about it.
Well, I mean, the documentary ended with the two of you being very realistic about the future and saying, who knows where it's going to go. You're both still so young, but you're going to stick at it for a little while longer. Please do, aren't you?
Of course, yeah, no, we are. I think a lot of people kind of, when we were talking at the end, some people I think got the wrong end of the stick thinking that we were saying we were splitting up, and that wasn't it at all. It was just kind of us just saying how, like, we don't know where we're going to be because so much has changed in the past 6 months. We have no idea where in the next 6 months we're going to be. It's just everything changes all the time, and we're just living life for what it is and taking it one step at a time and hoping to be going for as long as we can.
Well, that is Jonathan and Charlotte, the Britain's Got Talent finalists, whose new album Together is out now, and I'm going to play